I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz will be here later on. So Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Lasky.
Here.
Mayor Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Keck is absent. Councilmember Grabowski.
Here.
And Councilmember Rezga is absent. City Manager.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Community Development Director.
Here.
Police Chief.
Here.
Fire Chief.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Roll call complete.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizens' comment on agenda-related items, limited to 5 minutes.
Mayor Sullivan, Mayor Pro Tem Smith, council members, my name is Sarah Herberger, and I'm a program officer with the Manistee County Community Foundation, located at 400 River Street, Suite 50, Manistee. I wish to comment on agenda item B under new business, consideration of authorizing a budget amendment and contracts to implement EDA Riverwalk grant improvements. In the Manistee County Community Foundation's work with organizations seeking to improve the quality of life in Manistee County, the Riverwalk is often mentioned as one of our community's most valuable and unique assets. We recognize that the Riverwalk is essentially a trail through the heart of our community that provides access to all for water, connectivity to commerce, recreation, and natural beauty. Residents and visitors alike benefit from the Riverwalk, as do our downtown merchants and local economy. As you are aware, the Manistee County Community Foundation has contingently awarded a grant from the Minger Family Endowment Fund to the City of Manistee in support of the project, designed to improve safety and provide access to the recreational and natural resources of our river channel and our downtown. We know that this project will have tangible benefits to many people and would further Mr. Minger's wonderful legacy to increase access to recreation for Manistee County residents. Accordingly, the Community Foundation strongly encourages City Council to authorize the proposed budget amendment and contracts for EDA Riverwalk grant improvements as recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Andrew Stafford, the Director of Economic Development and point of contact for the Downtown Development Authority. I'd just like to draw your attention to agenda item A, the local government approval for Love Wine's off-premise tasting room. I want to just take note that the DDA is making a recommendation of approval. We do feel like this is attributing to our downtown's vibrancy and adding to our business ecosystem in downtown and all of Manistee. The Love Wine LLC company is well regarded in Ludington. They have 2 other off-premise tasting rooms, one in Lowell as well as in Portland, and they've been very successful. So being able to get Love Wines into our community is really a fantastic asset for us, and having them fill a key vacancy in downtown is also extremely beneficial. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Scott Ward, President of West Shore Community College. This September, the college hosted, and I'm going to speak on the Riverwalk. This September, the college hosted the Michigan Community College Association at our location in Manistee. We had dinner at the Bluefish. People were accommodated at the Hampton Inn. And the resounding feedback I had was Manistee is a wonderful community. People committed to coming back to the community, and it was received as probably the best in memory venue that we had. And part of it is your downtown and the people who were able to enjoy the Riverwalk. When we opened the building in 2021, we were working with the DDA, and there was a commitment from the DDA at that point to improve the Riverwalk along our along the college property. And so we started this project working with the city and the DDA in 2021. I am well experienced with how long projects take to come to fruition, and excited to see where we are today. And every time I've seen an iteration, it's been an improvement. So we're really excited to see what's happened at this point. And last night I presented the plans that we are in front of you for approval tonight, went over with our board of trustees, and you certainly have the college backing and endorsement to proceed in this project. We're excited to do that. I understand there, as in any project, there still might be amendments or modifications to plans, and I do not want any college endorsement to hold up any aspect of that. So the college has been working closely with Mr. Gamble through the last several years. So any minor modifications, adjustments to the plans, I have my full faith that Mr. Gamble will keep in contact with the college staff as he has been over the years, and we do not want to be a holdup for any future movement on this project. So without any non-material changes, we'll endorse and work with Mr. Gamble to do that, and hope we'll see the project come to fruition in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval, any member of city council may have an item removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Items include approval of minutes, payroll, invoices, notification regarding next study session. At this time, council could take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I am going to skip to the resolution of thanks and appreciation for the election inspectors serving in the city of Manistee. Whereas the city of Manistee recognizes the need for appreciation of and the service of election inspectors, and whereas many community members have chosen to serve as election inspectors for the city of Manistee for several years and remain committed to the important civic duty, and whereas many new election inspectors came forward this year to help with all the changes, new regulations, increased hours, and whereas 2024 marks the first presidential election since early voting was implemented in the state of Michigan. And whereas despite challenges, the city of Manistee was able to count and report its votes in a timely manner without any delay. And whereas due to the city council's recognition of the importance of elections and their decision to have City Hall closed on election day for all non-election related business, several employees of the city of Manistee have stepped up to train and serve as election inspectors, including Kelly McCall, Laura McKenzie, Kaylee Owens, and Teresa Waldo. And whereas the election inspectors are the unsung heroes of our democracy, giving their time to ensure elections run smoothly and very eligible voters can make their voice heard. Without them, clerk and deputy clerk could not perform their duties. And whereas these individuals carry out the duties fairly and impartially, these individuals are community members, neighbors, friends, and family members. Now therefore be it resolved that the Manistee City Council recognizes the hard work and dedication of the election inspectors in the city of Manistee who made November 5th, 2024 state general election possible. Thank you. Consideration of Love Wines LLC to receive local government liquor license approval for an off-premise tasting room license. Love Wines LLC is requesting a local government approval to apply to Michigan Liquor Control Commission, MLCC, for an off-premises tasting room license. The Manistee Downtown Development Authority, DDA, supports and recommends approval of this request. At this time, council could take action to support and approve the resolution supporting the request from Love Wines LLC for an off-premise tasting room license. Is there a motion?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Heather, would you please take roll? Without Ms. Radis.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, I need to back up a minute and make a motion for the resolution, because I wasn't reading all the way, so.
We just finished that.
Is there a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Heather, would you please take roll?
Did we have a second? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes,
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay,
So now
all right.
we are good to go with,
Yes, I'm at new business B.
we're at the Riverwalk, yes. Yes.
Consideration of authorizing a budget amendment and contracts to implement EDA Riverwalk grant improvements. The city was awarded an EDA grant September 2022 to implement South Riverwalk repairs and improvements in the DDA. After 2 unsuccessful bid rounds, the bid package was separated out into 5 bid packages, resulted in actionable outcomes. The budget amendments and these 5 separate contracts require individual motions. At this time, council can take action to adopt a budget amendment 2025-2 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on this one?
I guess, going through it and just so I have it clear in my mind, if, that 850,000 from the EDA, if we don't go forward, that's gone, correct?
So the timeline, I think we had it till March 2025. We're asking for an extension to September 2025, so we are running out of time. But we are happy with some of the results that we received, and I think it's a good project that is before you to approve.
And that's the completion of September, correct?
Completion, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
If it isn't completed, then what? Do we lose the money or part of the money, or what happens if we don't complete the Riverwalk?
We would work with, obviously, the EDA to make sure that, I think there's a little bit of flexibility, but they've been gracious enough to allow extensions. But we are kind of at the point where we need to commit funding. So we can't even apply for reimbursement until we have all the construction contracts approved and committed. So we are kind of at that point where, and to answer your question, I guess they could be rigid, and I'm not exactly sure if they wouldn't reimburse at the end, but I think they've been working with us to accommodate extension requests up to this point.
So it's like September 30th is the drop dead?
I believe it's
time?
September 19th is what we're requesting. So they wanted to, it's ARPA money, so they have a certain window which it has to be completed by. They want to they want some cushion area between the time when they have to have it done and they want us to be done with our construction. Reporting is kind of out a little bit of ways past the construction end date, but.
I've got a question on the substantially completed. That just is kind of an ambiguous word. Substantially completed might mean one thing to me, one thing to you. So,
In the construction world, substantially complete means that the project is ready for use. So if you have a sewer line, that you're building a sewer line, once you can flow sewage through that, it's substantially complete. When you've got a roadway, once it's paved and you're able to drive on it, it's substantially complete. Typically, when you hit that substantial completion time frame, that's a milestone, so we pay up to, we make a payment based on that. And then usually what's called a punch list is created, where we then go through and things like restoration and small adjustments or iterations have to be completed before we deem it finally complete.
and then that $1,500, who pays that? There's a $1,500 per day penalty if it's not completed, and I wasn't sure, and I might not have read it right. Is that starting September 1st, or does that after or September 5th or the 19th? And then who pays that $1,500?
The liquidated damages.
Did you have it after final?
We have, yeah, there's probably one for both.
Okay.
So if they're not substantially complete by the date, then the contractor pays the city $1,500 per day.
That Shemke Consulting is the one that would pay it, or the contractor?
Yeah, each contractor, so we got a separate contract for the 5 different, areas. So if any one of those goes over, they meet their substantial completion date, we can't use it, its intended function that day, then they start paying us liquidated damages at $1,500 a day. And it's the same with final completion, it's similar if they're not completely done on the final, they have this, there's liquidated damages as well, so. And that's kind of up to the discretion of the city to put those in there, but they're a big hammer.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's common in the construction engineer
Yes.
world to have that, so.
Kind of motivates them.
Inspection on the final, to see that it's substantially complete. Is it,
In this case, it's going to be Spicer Group. As the engineer representing the city, we'll be working on your behalf to look at plans, specifications, make sure everything's built accordingly. And then we'll put together that punch list, we'll work with the city on the punch list, and then at final, we don't pay until we have all those items in place.
so nobody would get paid then in case it was, say the top line does the electrical work right away, so then their payment is partially withheld until everything is done?
Nope, we'll be managing them to get started, as Bill was talking about with EDA, we have to do them all to get them together and kind of round it up and award them. But during construction, we'll be up to pay, we'll work with each contractor individually. And so when they get, I don't think there's any issue with just reimbursement. So we'd handle them all individually, so.
And because there's 5 contracts, we'll go through 5 iterations of this. So when the electrical work begins, they will submit monthly progress payments. What we do is we keep what's called retainage. So I think it's 15 in this.
Percent?
Yeah.
It's probably 10%.
So 10% of what they have completed, we withhold. And then once we hit substantial completion, we'll typically reduce that down to 5%. And then we retain that money until they're
Okay.
100% complete. So that's a little bit of the owner's leverage to make sure the construction's completed.
Another question, and I think it came up from the bridge. Would it be possible to get, and maybe the paper could help with this, you're saying monthly, but even, I think the people felt that they weren't being communicated with us, and it was MDOT, not the city, probably on that they did not know what was happening on that bridge. And this is kind of our city project. Would it be possible to give like a bi-weekly or every 3 weeks a report, and even put it in the paper that, like we all said tonight, the Riverwalk's an integral part of the community. People feel ownership of that. They'd like to know what the progress has been so far, that, you know, we're ahead of schedule or slightly behind, and what the projected next stage is.
So if you go on the city's website, we do that through generally May through November, where we give a weekly update on all of our construction
I
projects.
saw that, but I don't know if the general public, I was wondering if we could even get the paper more on board on that. The cities, it is available. If you go on their website,
Yeah, that
there's
resource
older
is
people
available.
that don't go on the computer that are interested in that. It would just be, it makes it more exciting, more ownership of local ownership, not more work. I don't mean to write down the whole scope of what was done, just to give a brief synopsis of what was accomplished, and that we're on target or slightly behind, or the weather has hindered us, or whatever. You know, but some update. I think the general citizens would like to know.
Lucas out of Spicer's office does that, so I think he'd be happy to include the paper on that. That's a good idea.
My last comment is, first of all, I'm going to support it. I mean, you're absolutely right. The Riverwalk is some of the lifeblood of Manistee. It's what makes Manistee, Manistee. You know, of the 5, different contracts that we're going to award, or possibly award, get ahead of ourselves, the only one that really I have a hard time accepting is this landscaping. It seems incredibly high compared to, even with, it's high or it's in the same ballpark as some of the heavier construction stuff. And yes, it's necessary, and yes, I'm going to vote for it, but I would not have felt good without saying something. I'm a little bit, that one gives me a little bit of pause. So.
And on the landscaping, I appreciate your support and the endorsement of it, but $50,000 of it is for West Shore Community College. Is there any way you'd want to put some monetary support towards that, or if the college could? And I hate to even ask that, but $50,000 is a big percentage of that landscaping is for right behind the college, which is a beautiful building, but that is in need of landscaping.
And I'll just mention, so the college, with the DDA, gives part of their capture towards this project, and there was a commitment prior to me being there about using some DDA funds from that capture to do this, address some maintenance issues on that hillside, but, and also we're doing that outdoor classroom area, so, but we have been working with Connie and talking about, they have, I guess, a program through the college that does some landscaping. So we're looking to work with them on at least the plant placement and things like that. The other thing I'll mention is that Shane with Spicer's been working with that contractor about reducing some scope and also making sure it's done properly. And I think we've requested to take out the rain garden. So we noticed the same things you're noticing, and we're trying to kind of scale it back a little bit, but still trying to accomplish the goals that we said we would in the EDA grant. So,
Has anybody talked to the tree commission on landscaping? Because I know that I don't know if they can find grants, because they're always looking to plant trees, and I don't know. I mean, I know that's not a huge,
it's possible. And they were looking, so the idea with this was low maintenance, kind of ground cover rocks and kind of plants that don't grow. So I think we're taking out a couple of the trees, but we're leaving some of them. But we could, if they desire to have more trees there, that's definitely someone we could talk to. You're right. I think they just received another grant, Jeff, so that's
Plant trees.
something we can look at.
I'd like one last thing. Great work, everybody on this. I know it's been a long haul. We were talking about that before the meeting. It started, a year and a half ago? So great work.
3 years ago, but
Okay.
yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
But no, great work on it, and I look forward to seeing its completion as well. Thank you.
I'd like to add, just breaking the bids down so that we're on a timely cycle, so that we are being accountable to our public and to the grant. I know how much work goes into preparing bids and then taking on more contract management through your team as a cost savings. I think everything that could have been done for cost savings and quality output, investing in the materials for long-term. I just really want to congratulate your team on that fast work that they did. Quality bids. Thank you.
anybody else?
The last thing we talked about was, and I know you answered it kind of, but are we sure that how long is that, the wood on the Riverwalk supposed to last? I know, Jeff, we had mentioned looking at that other product, was it 200,000 more or something? But this one,
So I'll just, and correct me, Shane, but yeah, so the Kebony had a 15-year warranty, and that's, I think, 296,000 more. That was our base bid, because we did want the nicer wood. There was an alternate for, it's called, it was about an $80,000 edition product. They were going to do a 15-year warranty. It's a newer product, so would that be around in 15 years was a little bit of a concern, but this is regular treated lumber, the same type of lumber. So we have out there is like 30 years old. So I would expect it should last a while, and we know the product will be around. So it's something we can just pick up at a lumber yard. So
about 30 years, so we could.
20, yeah. I'd say what's out there today is what we're putting back. So if you can, it's gonna run out of life at 20 years, and 15, 20 years, it's gonna look old. But I mean, I don't know how many boards Jeff's replacing now, but it's gonna have a similar lifespan. It's the same product in essence.
And there's not a way we can clean that, right, Jeff? Is there a way that we can keep that after, say, 15 years when it starts to look?
Well, that was the hope with the Kebony, is that it's a different product. It's more mildew resistant, it's slip resistant, but honestly, the prices made it unaffordable at this time. It's another $300,000. So what's in this contract now is standard treated lumber. The lumber that's on the Riverwalk now contains chemicals and arsenic that can leach out. So the power washing was not an option for us because it'll leach into the soil and into the water, where current treated lumber doesn't have that. So it provides a little bit more maintenance options.
Okay, that's an improvement, so, okay.
Anybody else?
If I could, I just wanted to thank the foundation for stepping in and helping us kind of fund the additional decking and the additional support. Also, the Tourism Authority was very helpful, the college and the DDA, so just want to thank our partners.
Thank you. Anybody else? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. At this time, council can take action to approve the electrical contract with Top Line Electric in the amount of $723.30 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the contract contingent on a final EDA approval. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this one? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. At this time, council could take action to approve the site work contract, including alternate number 1 treated lumber with Shepke Consulting LLC in the amount of $762,826 and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the contract contingent on the final EDA approval. Is there a motion?
I will make that motion.
Is there a second? Jim, did you second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this one? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. At this time, council could take action to approve the painting contract, including alternate number 1 epoxy with Dave Cole Decorations, Inc., in the amount of $62,259.56 and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the contract contingent on the final EDA approval. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this one? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. At this time, council will take action to approve the recommended structural contract with Walton Construction in the amount of $236,489 and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the contract and the change order number 1 contingent on final EDA approval. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I second that.
Any discussion? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. At this time, council could take action to approve the recommended landscaping contract with G&J Site Solution in the amount of $319,819 and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the contract and change order. Number 1, contingent on final EDA approval. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on this one? Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Raditz.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Now we will have a report from Mr. George Becker on the Harbor Commission.
Good evening, everyone. George Becker, Harbor Chairman. Just a quick brief overview of what happened in 2024. January, we had our elections. I was elected again chairman with Mary Lou Medill vice chair. And with all the improvements that were completed in the past of 2023, we're looking just to keep moving forward, and keep the slips occupied and hopefully get some more seasonals. So we were working with DACWA, the reservation and advertising people. They seem to be working very good. We'd like to get the reservation system involved with them too. Since we're paying for it, it's all part of it. We're looking at getting an ice machine, which I believe we did, and that's going to be stocked. Katie picks up the ice, and then we get it from Family Fair. April, we signed a new contract with the Princess of Manistee. It was back for the season. Didn't seem as busy, but it looked pretty good. Unfortunately, I read today that the original owner passed away recently. So we'll see. Hopefully the family keeps it going. June, we welcomed a new member, James Cartwright. One of the big issues on the river and all the waterways around seems to be wakes. So we requested with Jeff and more signage, which was posted. And with the increased law enforcement that we have with the new boat and that, if they're out there more, it'll probably help the problem. The ice machine was in place, so that's all good. And July, we're seeing a lot of increased marina usage. Probably about 10 to 15 transients a day were coming in. And I believe we had 11 seasonal slips occupied. Jeff would know the exact number. And then we're still, like I said, trying to keep that Dockwell reservation system. We're looking forward to that. Jeff reported in August that the boat launches were both seeing very heavy usage, both at Arthur Street and over on First Street. The fishing was tremendous, so the fish cleaning station was overflowing with waste. Unfortunately, we had to get some dumped, I believe. The person or the company that takes it to recycle it and turn it into fertilizer couldn't take it all. But that's, I guess, is a good problem to have. Rack cars were placed in the area. We're producing a lot of results. Even we found out that some that I placed all the way in Chicago had some people coming here that they found out about us. One of the complaints we seem to keep getting is from the garbage cans and Fricano's on the street there. We were told it's part of his contract. I don't know if it can be changed, but they sit out there sometimes 3-4 days for garbage cans, they overflow. So that's maybe need to be looked at. And then in October, we lost Mary Lou. She decided not to redo the commission, but we joined a new member, Michael Lentz. And he'll be joining us, and we'll have our next meeting coming up here in January. So that was a quick overview. I don't know if you have any questions.
How much is that Princess contract?
I'm thinking it's around 4 or something, 48.
Just under 4,000, I believe.
Yeah.
For the season?
He moved south pretty far to Florida, Grand Haven or something. He had a spot in Ludington, but I'm not sure. Hopefully he's back this summer. We'll see. It's definitely in conjunction with the Riverwalk and the marina and everything. It works out pretty good.
Anybody else have questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Sure.
Heffley will report on the city clerk's office.
Okay. So I'll get started with, I know we have 4 new members. Unfortunately, 2 of them aren't here tonight. But I thought I'd just give you a kind of a brief background. I've been with the city for 24 years as of September this year. And I started with the city in utility billing and accounts receivable. I did that for 15 years and then moved to payroll and then deputy clerk accounts receivable. And I've been the city clerk since January of 2018. I am a certified municipal clerk with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. I earned that certification in 2017, and I am a Michigan Professional Municipal Clerk Level 2 through the state of Michigan, and then I am also accredited through the state of Michigan for elections. Laura Lorraine is my deputy clerk. She started in March of 2017. Shortly after she started, I asked her to be my deputy clerk. I don't think she realized the role that she was taking on when she became deputy clerk, but she does an excellent job. She also has her certified municipal clerk certification through the IIMC, and she has her level 1 through the Michigan Professional Municipal Clerk, and is also accredited for elections. Laura's a great asset to the city. We're extremely lucky to have her. And she's just an outstanding individual, and I enjoy working with her. We have several election inspectors that work with the clerk's department. We have an amazing group. When I gave my report last year, I actually made a comment that I was running a little low on election inspectors, and it was amazing. The newspaper ran with that, and I was flooded with calls and got a lot of people that stepped forward, and I was so thankful for that. They came forward during a year that we really needed them, and that was kind of what sparked me to write that resolution tonight, and I appreciate you supporting that resolution. I can't thank my election workers enough for their dedication to our elections and to our community, because we really couldn't do the elections without them. And as you see, we have a great list of workers. Continued education in the clerk's department. We do several educational trainings throughout the year to maintain accreditation and to achieve new certifications. The Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks holds an annual conference every year, several education days. The Bureau of Elections does our recertifications for our election accreditations. And then we also hold certifications for our election inspectors every 2 years so that they can continue to work for elections. This year we held that training in Onekama, and we held it in person, and we also did hold a virtual training for our workers as well. During that training, I provided the absent voter counting board training session. I assisted the county clerk for that. We are not allowed to do our own training in the city. You must have at least 10,000 registered voters to hold your own training session. So the county must oversee that. That is one initiative that at the last, I was just at a Master's Academy, I asked our legislation group to take that to the House. I would like to see that limit is removed. I'd like to see that any size jurisdiction would be able to do their own training, whether it's overseen by the state possibly, but I think that's a lot to put on the county, that they have to do those trainings, and I would love to be able to do my own training for our workers. So the clerk's office, we perform many different duties. There's a lot that we handle. It's not just elections. Every day it's something new, but we do a lot here at City Hall, and that goes from our elections, voter registration, records retention, city council, meeting minutes, boards and commissions, public postings. The list goes on and on. Laura does payroll, employee and retiree records. There's a lot that happens, and we pick up things as, if somebody needs help, we step in. It's just, whether it be for a planning commission meeting, HDC, whatever it may be, if the need is there, we will step in. We do marina open space rentals, Lions Pavilion rentals, the list goes on, but we stay very busy in the clerk's department. In 2024, we issued 14 business registrations, 5 mobile food vending permits. We renewed recreational retail, 4 retail marijuana licenses, recreational processor, 2 medical grows, 1 recreational grow, and right now we have a couple recreational grow waiting for them to receive their state license. They're in a provisional stage right now. But 2024, let's just admit, it was about elections. We knew what it was going to be about when we started this year. It was going to be one of our biggest and most challenging election years of our career, and it did not disappoint. We spent hours upon hours planning for this election, and we faced challenges, but I was extremely proud of the way it all happened. It was our first year with early voting, implementing all the changes with Proposal 2, and still kind of reeling from what happened in 2018 with 18.3. There was still so many changes then. So it was good to see how we could take everything in and make it work. In February, we had the presidential primary, and that was our first election with early voting. The turnout was very low. Over 9 days, we had 64 voters come to City Hall to early vote. It was slow, but it gave us an opportunity to try it out. People were just getting used to it. And then that was also our first presidential primary where we had the permanent ballot list. So anyone who signed up to automatically receive an absentee ballot, we could not send them another application to find out what ballot they wanted for that primary. So we needed to reach out to all of them either via phone, email, letter, text. We had to contact them and find out what ballot they wanted. And so that we started off 2024 with a lot of contact to those voters. But I'm hoping that that may change by the next presidential year, that we find maybe a more streamlined process, but that was a lot of contacts. This is just a photo of my workers in Precinct 1. I wanted to add that in there. They're a great group of people. Then we had our August primary. I did a breakdown for that one just so you could kind of see those 9 days. We're here 8 hours a day. Day 1, 3 voters. Day 2, we didn't have anyone. We had the days when we had 11, we were super excited. But those days when you just have 2 or 3 voters, it's a really long day. So we had a less than 1% turnout. So you kind of take that in. Those were some long days. But again, the workers showed up. They sat here. They were happy to be here. They maintained a good outlook, and we appreciated them being here. So we had, for the August primary, just over a 25% turnout with everything combined. Our setup for early voting was here at City Hall. Worked out great. It was nice to have that here for the 9 days so that I could still oversee, but then still be working. It was a good setup. I don't know what the future holds for early voting because of the low turnout, which was here, but also at the 2 other sites in the county. There is talk about possibly consolidating, and if it would be more cost effective to have maybe 1 site in the county and have all of the Manistee County early voting in 1 location. If we could find a good centralized location. That is in the talks, and we're actually meeting for the first time tomorrow. So even though elections are done, we're still jumping right back into it so that we're prepared for midterms in 26. The November election was busy. We saw a great turnout here at City Hall for early voting. We had a huge turnout for absentees, and we were exactly 1% off from 2020 for that presidential election. We saw 66.89% voters in 2020, and we had 65.89% this year. And what I noticed was that the early voting, what we saw in early voting basically made up for the difference in what we didn't have in absentee. In 2020, we had just over 2,200 AVs, and this year with AVs, absent voters and early voters, we had right around 2,300. So people chose to early vote instead of absentee vote. So it was just interesting to see, how that change affected, our turnout. And it didn't really affect our election day turnout that much. So it was definitely interesting to see. And this is Precinct 2, just so you can kind of see the setup that we have there if you haven't been in our precincts. We have everything at the Wagoner Center. Precinct 1 is in 1 location, Precinct 2 is in the other. Received a nice shout out from the Secretary of State just thanking us for our work. Michigan saw over 1 million voters take advantage of in-person early voting, and Michigan clerks processed over 2 million absentee ballots. Michigan has over 5.7 million voters cast ballots, making this, or had over 5.7 million voters cast, making this our highest turnout for an election in history. It's very important that we thank everyone that helped us for this successful election year, and that includes the voters in our community. We received so much appreciation from our community. They would come in during early voting and they would thank my workers for being here. We have a great community. It was a positive experience, and I was very thankful for that because we weren't sure what we were going to face this year. And all I have to say is that we have wonderful people in this community, and it was a really positive experience for us. Upcoming in 2025, there is a placeholder for 3 elections. May 6th and August 5th are tentative. I don't know of anything right now that we have, but there could always be something that there could be a ballot, that comes forward. I have not heard anything yet, but we will have an election November 4th. We will have city council for 2nd, 4th, and 6th district council members, and then of course any other initiatives that could be placed on the ballot. And as I stated before, we do have a countywide agreement for early voting, which we had for just 1 year, and we could have changes, and any changes that we do make, I will bring to council and keep you abreast to anything that we decide to do, making changes with the early voting. I will let you know as soon as I have any new information on that. And that's really, in a nutshell, what we've done this year. It's just been a lot of election stuff this year. And I just want to let you know that we continue doing the work that we do in the clerk's office, and we appreciate the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. Any questions?
I was just gonna say, I took that class when you called up for people to work, and it was up in Onekama, and every clerk presented, but Heather did the best job. Each clerk from all the different areas, as you can tell, she has a very great way of presenting, and her years of knowledge did us all proud. So thank you for
that.
You were the best presenter.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And as a new member to City Council, I so appreciate you taking the time to report on everything that you do. It's really impressive. I didn't have any idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Yep.
Citizens comment. This is an opportunity for citizens in attendance to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read.
Scott Ward, West Shore Community College. We just heard how great your community is. I'd also like to give your employees are also as great. I'd like to thank the warm welcoming and support we've had from all your city employees since we've developed our center. Today you heard about and approved. Thank you for the Riverwalk improvements. So as I said, been working on that since 2021. And I know, having worked with Mr. Gamble, he would give all the credit to the staff that he works with, but I want to do a special shout out for Mr. Gamble. The professionalism he has shown in the many changes and iterations of that plan, incorporating the many voices, often disparate voices, but everyone's important opinions, and the demeanor, calm demeanor, his professionalism, he's a pleasure to work with, and we certainly appreciate the relationship with Mr. Gamble and all the employees of in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there somebody sitting back there? I can't see you, Sarah. Mr. Gamble.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the comments, and I just want to acknowledge Spicer. I think 3 years from the time of application, I'll say, with this grant, and going through 3 iterations, that was definitely a marathon, and appreciate Sean and staff, all your work on that. So, first council meeting since Sleigh Bell, I definitely have to thank Sammy Lukaskevitz this year helping out, and Kelly McCall from my office, Julia Cook, our DPW, police, fire departments for all their work to make this happen, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for all your support. So, quick reminder: just 8 to 12 every Saturday through the end of January. We're going to have cardboard recycling at the DPW. I know we have some new council members. Eagle is mandating that we have curbside recycling starting January 2026. Our contract with Republic is up June 30th, 2025, so we're going to be kind of bidding out, hoping to get good competitive bids, but curbside recycling will be one of those things that we include in the bid, or asking for people to bid on. So more to come on that in this next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa.
So hello again, good evening. I'm Teresa Waldo, the Community Development Director. I just want to share some exciting news about the CHILL grant that we have. So the CHILL is the Community Development Block Grant Housing Improvement Grant. We're delighted to announce that 13 of our residents were selected for the grant.
I called 12 of the 13 today. When I gave them a call, I got shock. I got crying. Just didn't know what to say. I had one person come down, see me, give me a hug, picked me up. She weighed less than me. Just all the thanks that we've been given. These people are awarded $40,000 each. That's going to cover their home, the health and safety that our building inspector goes through and visually sees what's needed. This was a great time, but right before Christmas. So my goal was last Friday to be able to tell them, but at least I got it today. Thrilled to share that. So again, you know that it was $500,000 that was awarded to us for home repairs and qualified homeowners. We also were very impressed with all of the applications that were received. We received 72 applications. So for this city, for that many, it was a very extensive process. And then I want to let you know that we want to thank Tracy Davis. She is with Housing North. She is the Housing Ready coordinator, and with her commitment and dedication and helping us do that. So we were able to share that news with everybody today. It was great to do. Our next step then is, I've scheduled meetings for all of them the end of January. We're going to be going through a whole list with them of what they need to do for contractors when Jerry goes out to their home, taking some pictures, getting names, getting everybody together, what the next steps are, and of course, some more paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa, besides all those that got the contract, are there any more that can apply even?
Nope, that is closed. But if we do have funds left over, there's a possibility that we might be able to go to the 14th person that's in line, and they would be able to get something, but it just depends on what the quotes come in and how much money is put out there, so, yeah.
How many applicants did you say you got?
72.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but initially, we had over 200 people that showed an interest.
For apps and.
Yeah, a lot, so it's great for the community.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other stuff? Mr. Kowalski?
Bill, we were both at the DDA meeting the other day, and did they mention when they're gonna start with that gateway project? They were talking, T came in and talked about it. I didn't hear a date.
They didn't give a specific date. I think they're hoping summer 2025, but yeah, I think they're working on it, but.
Okay, good.
Anything else, Ms. Raditz? No? Mr. Smith?
Nope, sleigh bell was fun. Thank everybody. Great job, everybody.
Sorry. Just cut you off. You're done.
I'm out.
This last week.
No, Merry Christmas.
I don't have anything. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and we will see you in 2025. Motion to adjourn. Motion.